Hi, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining the March 27th special meeting, of the Jefferson County Board of Health. I call this meeting to order.
Recording in progress.
We're here today to discuss the health officer job description, finalize that, as well as review, finalize our recommendation for updates to the environmental health fee schedule. Before we open up the agenda, can we just want to see if anyone's available or online for public comment? Do we have anybody else on the line? Doesn't look like it, that's a no. All right, let's jump into the health officer job description. So there was a second version of the job description sent earlier this week that included the add-on of an addendum. One should have that in their emails. And for those here, should have a copy of this one here. And then so just wanted to kind of open it up if anyone has any proposals or recommendations for changes. I know Dr. Reedy has some, but want to take a couple minutes to just see, if anyone has any proposed revisions on the job description for the health officer. And if not, then I would say, Dr. Reed, let's just kind of start with some of the things that you think we should be considering in this, we'll just start at the top.
So the part-time, I don't know if, as we put out a description, since the full-time or part-time depends a lot on who's available and what the salary expectations are. If, because we now, the last 2 years, have had the option of an advanced practice nurse practitioner, and their salary expectations are lower and they can fill other roles, while here, a full-time nurse practitioner in the role of health officer is something that should consider. We wouldn't want someone that would be interested in full-time but not part-time work to not apply. Obviously, who we accept depends on the candidate, what the grade and what their salary expectations are. So I would just say full or part-time or full-time as to have as many candidates apply as possible.
Well, I think given the budget concerns, I'm not sure that advertising full-time would exactly be truthful. Because even if at a lower salary, that's still it's still significantly more than your current rate of pay. And I think what we're able to commit to with regards to our current budget situation.
Yeah, that's my concern as well, is, I like the idea of expanding the candidate pool, but if we're gonna get candidates that we can't afford, that's gonna muddy the selection process, and I think that, with due to the budget concern, that's kind of where I land on that too, Karen.
So we currently have a salary for an advanced practice nurse currently in our budget, and we're paying that. An advanced practice nurse. If that changed to someone who also is able to be the health officer and have nursing duties as well, that could be within our budget. It's but I'm just throwing that out for a suggestion.
Yeah.
And then
Well, let me just, before we move on to the next one, any other thoughts on moving it to part-time or full-time versus keeping it part-time?
I mean, I think we should keep it part-time.
Are we thinking of part-time being 1 day a week, 2 days a week? What are we thinking part-time being?
I think that depends on cost and what the person would plan to do. So if they or somebody, say it's a family practice person who has said, I'd like to do these clinics and these clinics. As far as if we're not going to expand our clinical services, then it could be quite small. It could be 5 hours, 4 hours once a week. or even less than that. Some depends on who applies and what they're interested in doing.
Yeah,
I think it,
oh, go ahead, Karen.
no, go ahead, Brandon, it's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the part-time, there's a fair amount of flexibility and broadness in the part-time, because part-time can mean, like you said, 4 hours a week or 4 days a week would be considered part-time in a lot of places. So I think that there's a lot of variability in that scope. I think we can do a wide, keeping it part-time hourly, I think does cast a pretty wide net. Yeah, I like the idea of keeping it part-time too. And any differences in opinion or Dan or Laura?
No, I like it as part-time.
Me too. I don't think we can afford the full-time scenario at all.
They, and recognizing that if things shake and bake, then maybe there's some opportunity, but I don't wanna account for something that isn't there. All right, that would answer the next one, part-time hourly. Go ahead and,
Then we'll get to the licensed physician or nurse practitioner, advanced practice nurse, the usual preferred umbrella term would be now an advanced practice registered nurse. That's how it is with the licensing and all that. So I would just include the nurse practitioners, advanced practice nursing degrees as advanced practice registered nurse.
so are you proposing changing the DNP practice nursing degree, advanced practice nursing degree to advanced practice registered nurse? Or
Yes, so the
Is that consistent with what's in statute? I don't want I don't want to use I don't want terms that aren't in statute. So I'm not sure if that is consistent with statute or not.
that's
Yes,
go ahead.
yes, actually, if you, the statute says, the local health officer shall be a physician or a licensed advanced practitioner registered nurse. So that is exactly what, as it's stated in the statute. So that sentence, what Dr. Reed stating is that sentence should be changed to meet the statute.
Okay.
I agree with that. Any disagreements there? So that recommendation aligns us with state code, great.
Then the health officer delivery of high quality healthcare services, I would say it's not so much healthcare services, I'd say this is wordsmithing, high quality public health and healthcare services, because a lot of what is provided in the health department is not healthcare services.
I agree with that.
And then the maintaining compliance with all applicable laws and regulations while working collaboratively. I don't have any disagreement with that. Later, the code talks about being under the supervisor, to get the exact words. Just looking at the word, I have no problem with collaborative, but just if there was any discussion.
You maybe talking about potentially aligning that with the state code.
Yes.
The local health officer serves as the executive officer of the local board and under its supervision. So maybe, well, with all applicable laws and regulations while working under the supervision of the Board of Health, probably aligns that a little bit better with state code, but working collaboratively sounds nicer.
Yes, yeah, and ultimately, they would need to, we would follow the state code, and that would, before any hiring, that would be clear.
Yeah,
So,
I'm comfortable leaving that the same. Thoughts about changing working collaboratively to under the supervision of?
I think it's fine the way it is.
I do too.
I agree.
All
I
right.
agree.
Yeah, next.
and key responsibilities, again, just wordsmithing, I would change medical and public health. I'd change it to public health and medical. Putting the public health first, since this is not primarily a medical institution.
Agreed.
And then oversee clinical services programs. I would take what's in the code is to supervise and direct the activities of the local board of health services employees and facilities. Again, not just about clinical services. That's an added thing as their role as a clinician. But the first thing is that they're overseeing the whole public health aspects.
And what you're recommending for that bullet is in alignment with the statute, language in the statute.
Brandon's checking the.
I'm double checking.
Yep, there, I see it right there.
Number 2, yep.
Yep, 16, 12, 13, 2. That's a word for word
And
replacement.
then I would add, as an addition to that sentence, and provide medical services. So that depend, that's open, because we would expect them to come in and actually provide those services where needed.
Yeah.
And that could be to a greater or lesser extent. Then the
Oh, hold on, before we move on, anyone disagree with that, changing oversee clinical service programs and regulatory compliance to match the exact language in the statute and adding and provide medical services at the end?
I agree.
Agreed.
Agree.
when we
All
go
right,
to
next section.
minimal qualifications is near the end. The nurse practitioner advanced nursing degree, I just like in the beginning, change that to advanced practice registered nurse with appropriate certification and scope to practice in the state of West Virginia.
Which again aligns it more closely with state code. I have no, agree there.
Me too.
And then on the addendum,
Real quick, let me just,
Yes.
so this is what I texted to you guys this morning. What you have in your email from earlier is a bullet addendum. That was sent out, I think, by Brandon on Tuesday. Dr. Reedy is proposing moving and replacing all of the bullets with the actual verbiage from the state code, which I sent a text message screenshot of this morning.
I think it would be good to put the actual statute maybe at the bottom of the description, because I think as people are looking through, they're not going to read through statutory language. And so I like keeping the bullet points and then adding the detailed statute, referring people down to the detailed statute.
I agree with Karen. Let's include the statute, but put it, we've done a lot of work on these bullets, put it behind the bullets or put it as an addendum.
I agree. I think that's one too.
and leave the bullets out.
No, include the bullets.
Sounds like we're here. Yeah, it sounds like it was the majority is on keep the bullet. And just to clarify, after the bullets, a link, because this will be digital, or at least for the job candidates on Indeed, a link to the statute or actually include the language of the statute underneath the bullets of the statute?
I think you include it.
You include it?
Yeah, include it at the bottom, at the very end of the document for the full statute. And just say full statute or some whatever kind of reference language. Or what you can add, or what you can add in the bullets is see below for full statutory language.
You got it, Brandon?
Yep.
All right. Are there any other proposals, revisions, or changes to the job description? Sounds like hearing none. I don't think we need a formal motion to approve this. I don't.
You approve the selected candidate, you have to do that.
Okay, so I would say proceed to job posting with proposed revisions.
Understood.
Other questions of, would you like a board member to be involved in the interview or selection of final candidates?
I'd like to kind of lean on precedent there, and I think you were probably the sole member of the last time we did this. Was the board part of the interview and selection process or interviewed after the fact
No, one or two of us did the interviews.
alongside
Yeah.
the current administrator?
Well,
Yeah.
I remember the current administrator always being there. Do you? When
Well,
John and I
So
came,
for Marty, Dr. Didden and John Breslin did
Right.
interview with,
right.
talked with them formally and informally.
I mean, I think the first level would be for them to for Brandon to talk to them. And then the next level would be for a board member to be around and once you narrow it down, and hopefully there's a process of doing that, then basically the whole board.
And then they present it to the board or approved.
Right.
My case approved probably 4 or 5 months before the actual turnover.
Yeah,
So Brandon, you have the power to assign or voluntel or request volunteers for a selection committee.
Absolutely.
From the board, obviously no more than 2 people. So you have the power to do it. I like the format of Brandon Rhodes doing the initial screening, bringing it to then Brandon and maybe 2 board members, and then extending to the full board. Did I lose audio?
I can't hear either, Karen.
Okay.
I lost it for a second also.
Okay. Yeah, I still don't have it.
Yeah. It almost looks like they're frozen. Oh, there. We can't hear you. We can see you. Oh, there you go.
No, that's my voice.
No, but I saw Brandon waving.
Yeah,
But
I can see the video moving, but they said they're working on the audio.
okay. My video looks like it's frozen, but
Hello?
there.
there you go.
Hello.
All right, we're back online. That is very strange. It just hopped ship halfway through the meeting. Can you hear us now?
And
Yes.
All right, I think we lost audio at the Karen saying that I have the ability to volunteer somebody to.
Yeah. People have the ability to volunteer or be
Yeah, well, I tell
voluntold.
you what, I like, I'd like to be a part of it, and I think from an availability standpoint, and just while we had audio issues, just chatting with Ann real quick, and I would offer up myself and Ann to play that role, unless anyone sees it differently or really wants to be a part of that, then we can have a discussion.
Gavel it.
Okay. All right, hearing no objections, and you've been voluntold.
No objection.
I really appreciate it.
Voluntold.
I really appreciate you saying.
That term.
Yeah, I learned that at my last job, my former boss. Thank you. All right, I think that's it for the job description. All right, let's move on to the environmental health fee schedule. Yeah, I would. Excel.
Good morning, everybody. Real quick, I did send out a updated, which is what's up on the screen. Last night, Alexis, in doing her due diligence, we figured out that we had a little bit of a minor hiccup and we made, correct changes. Doesn't necessarily change a whole lot. It does change a whole lot though at the same time when it financially, if you're looking at it. So give a breakdown of this, analysis real quick. Sections A through H are calendar year 2025. So these are, A is what we are fee type. B is what the current fee schedule is in 2025 and currently. The total number of events, shall we say, in C column for 2025. Now, this is what our average hourly cost is in D, and then the average hours per type of fee. In E, we have our total cost that we put out, so that's labor, time, along in F. Mileage as well. G is also what we actually build out, and so we have a cost variance in there with H. The top portion here, numbers, the ABC sales through tattoo studio permit, those are fees that we cannot touch. We can't touch them. Those are set by the state. To include, I think that DEP septic tank seals we get and then we reimburse back to the state. So technically that money we don't even really see. So those are the ones that we can't do anything with. On the big column in the middle, this activity opportunity, those are the ones that we did do throughout the year. You'll see the breakdown of it as well. And then scrolling down farther, you would scroll down farther for me to the third column real quick. Keep going. Those are things that we do have a fee schedule for that we can perform. However, we did not perform them in 2025. So obviously those did not make a situation within our budget. So going through this, if you go back up to the top of the fee schedule, or actually you can stay kind of right
Go
there.
down to the 71
Yes. Oh, yeah.
there.
Oh, sorry. And thank you. I totally forgot there was a fourth section. We have our total. So what you'll see in 2025 is what the cost to us as a health department for our individuals in the sanitary and environmental health department costs us $443,394. What we billed out for in 2025 was only $395,275.50. So roughly $4,200 or $42,000. It'd be nice if it was $4,200. $42,000 was what we are missing in cost variance.
I'm just gonna throw in, and just for those that got the spreadsheet and reviewed it ahead of this morning, the change was on one particular item on the campsites.
Yep.
I think it was row 14, row.
Yep.
14,
Yes.
the hours, average hours per type was 3 and it got moved to 0.5. You want us to talk a little bit about the change?
Yeah, so on the campground per site, the way that it was put into the system, while we don't have any campgrounds from 1 to 10, they put them all in by site. So with that, talking with Alexis pointed it out, a rough estimate of 15 to 20 minutes per site visit.
Realized it doesn't take 3 hours per individual.
Yes, per individual site, that'd be a heck of.
It would take 24 hours for one camp.
Yeah, so we were kind of, we had a little hiccup there. So estimating that plus to include the time for the admin cost of it with the OA, so getting the paperwork, filing it, invoicing, tracking, all that stuff. So it puts us to about 0.5, so about 30 minutes per site total.
And that moved total expenses for the year down from 508,000
Yes.
down to 443.
which
And that's the big change, the only change
the only
in
change.
the two versions.
Absolutely. Still unfortunately a deficit, and just not as big of one. I think we were very thrown off by that. So we have the three proposals on that we put out. So the original proposal number one, which was what Alexis and myself put out 2 meetings ago, was just a targeted increase. So taking certain ones that we spend a lot of time on, and that you can kind of see that we've really run negative on, which was a good bit of them. Targeting those increases and just those ones. So if you I wanted to do that. Do we want to go to the next one?
I would go to the very bottom and
Okay.
kind of just roll this all up, and if there's questions at the detail level.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent.
yeah, from
So the gray in that
all
proposal
the way down to
one
the bottom.
are ones that we are not changing. So everything gray in that first proposal one targeted are non-changed. So you'll see the proposal change, what would the annual billings would be. Our billing variance is about $71,000 with our cost variance being 23, just shy of 24.
And just for the group here, that means our billing would go up 71,000 and we would be positive to our cost to perform of 23,000. So we'd be kind of in the black on, and I guess that's the big takeaway that
Yeah.
like we're in the black on all three of these options.
Correct.
On our previous one with the error on the campsite, we were negative on all of these options, but option 3 was at least close to the
little less.
ballpark. So the good news is that no matter what we select here, it will right the ship.
Correct.
All right, go ahead, sorry.
No. So option 2, proposal 2 was the 20% across the board. So no one was left out, no fee was left out of this. That would put us to a annual billing of $480,212. Our billing variance would go up $84,936.50. I'm reading that right from a distance. And that would actually give us in the black 36,818. Now proposal 3 was that hybrid proposal. So that is we're using the targeted, and then those that we did not target from first one, we gave a 20% increase to. That would give us $499,577.50 for annual billing, with a billing variance of $104,302, plus the cost. So the cost variance would actually put us in the black by $56,183.50. Questions?
Yeah,
back
I
and
apologize. Oh, go
Go ahead,
ahead.
Karen. No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I apologize. I'm on my phone, so I can't switch between documents. But so in proposal 1, though, so we don't make any changes in proposal 1 yet. We're showing that we're going to make more money next year.
No. The proposal 1 is not in no changes. Proposal 1 is targeted changes. Not everyone got changed.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And
That was
and
the
the big-
original Alexis proposal.
The original
Correct.
proposal. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like, I guess the question when I was looking through the details of it sort of almost, and I was kind of focusing in on the food permit areas just because we have so many different designations of it. And I didn't realize we had that many 81 plus seat restaurants in Jefferson County, or whatever that top designation is. But it almost, because it was showing like 3 hours to do a bed and breakfast without a food permit, 3 hours with a food permit, in which we're under collecting, if you will, for the time spent. But then when you go to the larger facilities, it's revenue positive, or, it covers the cost plus. Was I reading that correctly?
So in some of these, absolutely. That is actually correct. Now, taking into consideration some of the other factors that were not really factored in, was also mileage fees. Actually, we did not factor that in for travel, mileage fees, other aspects. And again, some of it is, how can I put that? Like, how do I want to put that?
So I provided in my original.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Real.
I only accounted for the amount of time it would actually take just the sanitarian to perform
Yes.
the on-site work. And then Brandon reviewed and calculated out the expense of our office assistant administrative processing for application and permit issuance, along with mileage and expense to actually travel to site and back. So the hours is actually a little bit higher because it's accounting for
The office.
other costs in that.
So because we factor in both sides of the house on this.
Yeah.
That makes
as much
sense.
As
Yeah.
much as the sanitarians are out doing the job, the OAs are behind the scene, going through the files, getting the files, doing the invoices, following up on the invoices, all those fun things. So we have to account for that as well.
Which is also why that average hourly cost went up a little bit
Yeah.
as well, because we were also including those travel costs.
Correct.
So I have a question about those costs. Are those reflected in proposal 2 and 3?
What, help me,
The cost that we're discussing. So the
Yeah.
mileage cost, fixed cost, office cost.
yes, everything, all the increases are, all the proposals also average in with those amounts as well.
Wait, including proposal 1? I thought,
So we're taking the amount of hours it costs to perform the service,
Yes,
and then we would be multiplying that by the new fees to get our
Yes.
new billing. So the cost to perform the service stays the same in each proposal. The cost to charge for the service is what would be changing.
maybe I'm not asking clearly. What I heard, what I just heard was proposal 1 didn't take into account mileage and
no,
fixed
No,
cost.
my original, so the one that I brought to you guys 2 months ago, not in this spreadsheet.
Okay.
Was
Okay,
what I
okay.
was referring to, yeah. Proposal 1 on this spreadsheet now takes that all into account.
correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Yeah, we're sorry about that. We were jumping which proposal 1 we're
Sorry.
talking about.
Yeah. Okay, no.
So is everyone clear on the mechanics of the spreadsheet?
Yep. Yes.
So, kind of zooming back out, I think that we wanted to look at proposal 2 and 3 because there was a feeling like we're picking winners and losers with proposal 1.
Right.
And I think for me, and I'm speaking for me, I know that everybody's got their own opinions here, like, to me, that 20% sounds really heavy when we just did a 20% 2 years ago. And like, that just feels tough.
Yeah.
And proposal 3 is a targeted and 20% for everything else, and that gives us the biggest win, but we are positive on all of these proposals. I just did well, let me just stop there. Right, on everybody's kind of initial thoughts on these 3 proposals.
These costs are based on 25. How much of an increase if we had salaries in 26 or
So-
whatever?
So in this case,
3 cents.
That's it.
I'm sorry, that's here.
No,
You
so-
did the cost.
so we're also so with that, we're also going to add in, you're going to have a pay increase each year for the sanitarians. So with that, we also have to factor in anywhere from 5 to 10% of the merit pay increase per year per the sanitarians and OAs. So we haven't really, that's also a future situation that we have to deal with as well. Because
This cost that they're looking at today includes
well, that was,
that
yeah,
calculation, right?
yes, correct.
For projecting
For-
in the future.
No,
Oh,
It
no,
did not.
it does not.
oh, okay.
It does not.
So our costs
It's
were the
straight-
2025
Oh,
costs.
straight
With the
2025
25 costs, so we
Gotcha. Okay,
So as we think about the proposal, we should be thinking 2026 costs are gonna be a little higher.
Correct,
And the variances within this analysis
correct.
are aggressive and they'll likely be a little bit lower when we factor in the
When we
increase.
factor in the increases.
Yeah,
through
that's a really good
2026
point.
and 2027.
So that on proposal two, that cost variance might only be 20,000 instead of 36,000 as an example,
Possible, yes.
based on. Okay,
Yes.
that's a really good point.
And that was strict, like I said, we strictly looked at 2025. We haven't factored in the cost variance because, again, we have two OAs, three sanitarians, that are going to be getting the cost of living increases, merit increases, plus hiring another, sanitarian in the future. So those aspects have not been factored in because we were strictly looking at what 2025 was. Right, to see that, because that's what the most solid numbers that we had.
Yeah, well, I'll share another thought, like if we look at row 21, back to the food permits that
Yeah.
Karen, you were talking about a little bit before. This is actually one of the arenas where our billings exceeded our costs for 2025. Right, so we were when we look at our cost billing variance in column H, a lot of it's negative where we're underwater. Our food permits, all of them, 2150 all the way up to 81 plus, we actually billed out more than our costs were. And that was one in proposal one that we proposed to increase.
Yes,
So I think if we're using this spreadsheet, I think that original proposal. If we would want to look at a targeted increase, we probably want to look at those areas where we're negative
correct.
and adjust those. Because what it looks like we're doing here is, hey, that one that we actually were right sized on, we're actually increasing that one.
Well, we were only right sized because they were not performing as many inspections as they should have been doing.
And that is true as well.
I mean, that's very true because
Yeah.
I'd say most of those are geared on having 2 a year.
Yes.
And you were probably only having one.
Actually, for the 81 plus, generally that's gonna be a full service,
3.
so that would be 3 inspections per year.
So that is.
How
the
many
big
of those were
difference.
actually getting 3? Were they,
They were getting 1 on average.
right?
Yeah.
I think that number is askew.
No, well, and
Having come from that arena, I hate to see this kind of an increase, but if you were doing what,
I see.
And that
I
is-
wasn't seeing it first, but I think what you're saying,
that's
because you
great.
need a lot more cost in order to do it.
Yeah, to actually,
Yeah.
And that's a very good thing that we didn't bring up too. These numbers are what we actually did.
Yeah.
We did not get through all of our food permits. We did not get through all of our food permits as far as inspections concerns. So like she was said, the 81 the facilities with 81 plus seats, those are 3 total visits per.
That's on the expense side, but not on the income side.
Correct, but that's what we're saying. So our expense side, since we didn't get to see all that, that's probably why we are so
It's exactly.
Yeah.
top
It
loaded
makes total sense.
on that because our expenses would have gone up so much more had we been able to actually do all the facilities.
right,
Which in turn
But do they
also,
have to pay, but do they have to pay for every time you're out there? So if you're required to do 3, does the facility have to pay?
no,
it's
No.
the cost of the permit is supposed to reflect the number of visits per.
correct,
I see. Okay, got it.
and also taking into account now too, that our funding from the state is going to be based off of
the number of visits.
Right.
the visits that we do.
Did that,
Passing this,
We don't know exactly what that means
we
as far
don't, but
as
that's what,
if that's our only major deficiency, are we still at a passing grade and some, we don't know that important piece.
we don't know how much it'll affect us, but it's still,
We
they
just know
have
we're
stated
being
that they're.
evaluated on it currently and we're not meeting.
Yeah.
Where we.
Um,
Our salary, go ahead.
yes, ma'am.
No, go ahead.
Our salary, what we've ended up as our expenses, we've never met what we've wanted to
Right.
because we can't keep the positions filled.
Correct.
So in a balanced way, our salaries would be much higher.
Yeah.
like I also look at, and this is where, it's just, I think sort of what Brandon was also getting at is where the biggest delta is. Like, so the information request is a huge volume of like 528, and we have to be responsive to that, obviously, if people need
Yes.
information and so forth.
Scroll back up.
Oh, no, up. There you go. You had it. It was already there.
26.
Yep. And so I don't think it's appropriate for us to not put an increase into that, given the fact that that's like one of our biggest drivers right there. We are negative
I can
$20,000.
speak to that. The reason why I did not touch that one is because, I am unclear on, and I have already sought advice on this, but I haven't received a response, so, I'm unclear on the difference between a FOIA and an information request. Because that service is the public requesting our publicly held document. And FOIA has a specific procedure as to how much we are able to charge for that. And so I wanted to know from legal, do we need to adjust that $30? Because I think that the FOIA is like, you can only charge like per page that you're, don't quote me on that. It would end up being lower
Yeah.
than this, than our $30 fee. And so I was wondering, can I change that? Can I increase that without being, without not utilizing FOIA?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah,
still
like
unclear
FOIA,
on that.
FOIA is definitely regulated, and I feel like it's like $1 a page or something but that might have changed.
Yeah.
But if it's like somebody saying, hey, I need the land plot information from 1965 on this property, whatever the case is, I mean, I think that's a different, that's obviously clearly very different than a FOIA request. And you're saying this is all of those are all in this sort of bucket.
Yes, anybody that requests it, we pull the file of all of their well and septic documents that we hold. So it's usually, upwards of 20 documents that we organize and scan in, and then send a digital copy or a physical if requested, and then put it into our digital system so that it could be recalled faster if it was ever requested in the future. So it actually does take quite a bit of labor. I estimate about an hour per, and we're doing 500 a year. So, I mean, we spend 500 hours on this service. I agree that the fee should increase to reflect that labor if we can. My question was just if we could do that. So, I don't know. Maybe we can follow up about it.
Yeah. But also, again, there's a distinction between FOIA and just, I need the records from this property I own or I am purchasing.
Do you have any sense of the percentage breakdown of what is a FOIA versus what is a public request?
Do we get
Yes.
that many FOIAs? Or
No, no, just like how often
do
we
we
get
get
FOIAs?
that many FOIAs?
No, I mean, I think I received 2 last year.
Okay, so the
So the
overwhelming
majority.
lion's share of this.
Most of this is public.
That's.
That's
I
helpful.
think, yeah,
And again, I think. I. My 2 cents on this, right, taking into consideration, everything, like. Again, some of like we have said, some of the numbers on the food permit stuff where we are above board may not actually be above board come if we're actually full working. But at the same time, I get trying to do right by the community, and it was the initial one, right, with the targeted. Trying to do right by us, but at the same time, we also have to take into consideration, like, if we're operating as a business, we need to do what as a business does. And take into consideration the best means for staying above water. And that's, I mean. So factoring in future costs.
Acknowledging too that these businesses, most of them that are larger have an ABC license. And that is an additional fee that is added for basically no additional work, just.
Yeah, I did want to say that the number of 81 plus food establishments also includes, our cafeterias for all of our public schools, which is about 20. So if you take that out, it puts that category a little bit more on what you would expect or what you would think of for Jefferson County.
That's helpful.
That is helpful.
Well, just to kind of move this forward, I'm curious where everybody is leaning as far as the proposals go.
I am not usually the one that wants to increase them the most, but we need to have this funding, as painful as it is.
So are you leaning in towards proposal
I-
2 or 3, or are you good with 1?
Definitely 2 or 3. And truthfully, I think if we are able to ever get on board of doing all of the things that we are supposed to be doing with enough staff, it needs to be number 3. Because we have struggled within the last year of not having enough staff most of the time to complete these things. And if we're gonna be reprimanded by the state for not doing that, it's gonna become even a bigger issue of getting it done. And there has to be some funding that will pay for these positions. I mean, how much time did we have last year that we weren't paying somebody in those sanitarian positions because there wasn't anybody here to fill them?
We were down to 2 in 2025 at the beginning of 2025, during our busiest season of the year. And it was rough.
Yeah, I like proposal 3 because it seems more targeted. It seems more intentional versus, oh, we're just doing 20% again. Right, it's, no, we did 20% when the law changed to kind of ensure that, but we're not just doing that again. We've taken the time, we've done the analysis, we've recognized there's certain areas that needed to be right-sized. We're right-sizing those, and we're bringing everything else up to level cost. And I think proposal 3 gets us to a place where going forward, it is just an annual cost of living adjustment, and without needing to do any major things, right? And so I think if we're gonna take the medicine, I think proposal 3 is better messaging, and it puts us in a better financial position because we did the work to get this right, so we don't have to keep doing this over and over again.
Whoever's scrolling, can you please go back up to the food permit area, please? I've been trying to look at numbers.
Up. It's up.
I think it's like line 21. Yeah. Please don't move it because I'm having to scroll through pages here.
Yeah, to your account too,
Okay.
if we get right sided up, that becomes a simple. Something in the middle school is a 2% cost of living increase or a 3% cost of living. increase.
Exactly, and then
That we
the
saw.
public can just understand that every year this is gonna go up 2, 3, 4, 5%.
And then the
Kind of-
businesses can just build that out in their budget, knowing that that's what we'll be doing.
Yeah,
It makes it easier, helps medicine go down.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put that one,
So on the hybrid, on the third, on proposal 3, and
Yes,
I know it was targeted increases. Was it the same percentage per targeted increase, or was there a variance in percentage?
No, all the targeted increases stayed, I think, the same. The only difference is from proposal 1 to proposal 3 is that the ones that we did not change, we added in the 20% increase to those that did not get changed.
Okay, so so everyone's getting an increase in proposal
Right.
3.
Correct.
I see. Okay.
But some are getting a little bit more because it needed to be right sized.
Right. So I'm just wondering, is there an averaged out percentage increase? So, some people are
No,
getting
I see.
20%, some people are only getting 5. What's the average across the entire segment?
That was. That's about it.
It's gonna be larger than 20% because, if you just look at the very bottom,
Yeah.
the 20% gives us 440, this gives us 499, so it might be closer to 25 or.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
just take for an
I
example.
think I saw where you were going with that though, Karen, I like it.
Yeah.
Let's just take for an example, a restaurant with, more than 80 seats was 600 and it's going to be
So,
800.
Yeah.
And most of those that have that many seats also have an ABC license, so you're gonna add another $150 to that, so it's gonna go to $950. From, previously $750, so that's a $200 increase.
yes.
I think and for them, I mean, that's where we are not living up to our statutory expectations.
Right.
Right.
And now there's state penalties in the wings for not meeting that. I'm just trying to think through messaging, because that
Yeah.
probably isn't gonna be a very popular thing.
Regardless, I don't think it's gonna be popular.
I
But
think it's going to be, I think exactly that, though, Brandon. I think you and I are on the same page as to like when this goes to the commission for approval, is that I think we need to have a very clear memo that accompanies this
Yeah.
and this is to be in statutory compliance with the state. I think also, if assuming, or well, I shouldn't assume, if the county commission approves this, then I think when we communicate with the businesses and people impacted with these fees, is that I think it should say something to the effect of this is, again, the why, in order to be in compliance with the state regulations. Also, please, for future planning purposes, please factor in, a 3% increase annually in order to meet, again, statutory requirements of what we have to pay our staff. These are fixed costs. These are not arbitrary increases so we can go have a really fun Christmas party.
This analysis is long overdue, of coming up with what these things actually cost.
definitely is. And thankfully, we have a Excel expert that helped a lot. But
Yeah, this is awesome.
it's I coming in when I came in this time last year, we had that massive deficit. This is not going to fix the deficit, but we have to at least be evened out and be able to afford the next steps in the process with our sanitary department and with our environmental health individuals. So we're not drowning on one, continually drowning, because if we don't do anything, no matter what we do, we'll still be negative.
I never realized that we were $42,000 under.
And that's not even doing all of our, not even for the
Right.
time
And
factor.
our
That's doing-
assumption had always been that environmental was basically self-funding.
Right, that's what,
I mean, that's
It
what
was-
my assumption had always been since I've been here, that those fees were
to
pretty close to self-funding, and when you actually get down to the bottom, they're not.
the amount of time it takes, because again, factoring in, not just the sanitarian's time, right, going out there doing the visits, but you have to factor in the OA's time. The
Yeah.
OA's are dealing with, finding the files first and
well,
foremost.
yeah, those 500 information
Oh, yeah.
requests, the,
Well, and the big
You know.
shocker is that if you really got down to this, we were not fully staffed in any of these positions.
right,
If
And it's
we were
still-
fully staffed, the cost would have even been more than
Be
this,
even
if
greater.
we had been paying the.
Absolutely.
that's true, actually, because we did lose an OA in 2025. And I was issuing permits and it was horrible,
Yeah.
and now I
And that-
love my life now that I have an OA doing it for me.
Absolutely.
It's worse than I think we thought it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I think this might be like a conservative hourly cost, because is there any percentage of your time baked into that?
None.
Even a third of your hat
Uh,
should be kind of part of this calculation, and I think. So I think there's further we could go.
But again, I don't want, I've always said I don't want it. While I understand this is as a business aspect of things, I'm also not a gotcha type of person. I don't want the businesses to feel like, and they're going to feel like this without, even with great explanation. But I don't want them to think that we're targeting anybody, because we're not. We're just trying to do our job to help the public. And this is how we have to do it. You know,
There will be a lot of pushback.
absolutely, and I expect that, and it's understandable. And I, as much as I hate trying to drive these fees up, or not trying to drive, but having the fee increases because we need it, we have to, or we are. Or every month you're gonna be asking me, why is there deficit? Like this, and.
Or we'll be answering to the state of why
And we'll
haven't
be
you
answering to
done
the
that?
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing too is that I think again in the memo in our communications and Brandon Rhodes, I'm happy to talk with you offline about it. Is the fact is that we also worked to resolve some of our front end issues, i.e., the regulatory piece of this for even getting sanitarians in the door. And so, it's not like we're just sitting here like helpless victims.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been proactive in trying to resolve, again, some of the things that we're trying to solve. Like I think about it again is that if there's a smaller hurdle for people to become a sanitarian, i.e. reciprocity, absolutely recognizing reciprocity of people coming from another state that just want to work part-time. I mean, imagine how much time that leaves that relieves the current sanitarian staff that have to go to, do bigger stuff or stuff that needs sort of more elevated attention, shall we say.
And that's actually a good point that you brought up too, is training. This doesn't even factor in the cost of training at that time. It doesn't even factor in any other expenses. Whether that be paper, pens, pencils, it doesn't matter. Travel to and from trainings,
Yeah,
that doesn't even factor in that. As
so I
cost.
think given that, I'm becoming a very strong proponent of proposal 3.
So,
And then we just focus on the messaging, because we know that this is what needs to be done to better serve the community into the future, and just have to take the medicine. Does anybody see it differently? I'm just kind of want to get to a final on this.
I mean, I feel much more comfortable with this analysis. And by the way, thank you guys. This was a great job. I know it's been painful, but this is incredible data. And to Ann's point, it's something that's long overdue. So kudos to you guys. But I think given this discussion and given the level of data that we now have, I'm much more comfortable in the proposal 3. Can't.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like you guys are saying, it does seem like a lot, but in all honesty, to have a good business plan, I mean, we're basically raising it the bare minimum just to cover the costs, which in reality, we should be doing more than that, right? To make it profitable. So, what we're doing
Yeah.
is just basically, not that I want to encourage that, obviously, as a business owner, but looking at the numbers, it obviously makes sense. And I do think that we're basically just raising it by the minimum, just by covering the costs, because typically you would add a percentage over that. So
Yeah. All right, that sounds like, well, Dan, I don't know if you weighed in.
Yeah. No, I agree with I'm more comfortable with proposal 3 now that we've gone through it. But the explanation or the cover memo is going to be important. The thought that's gone into this, because it's that I mean this is going to be this is some of these increases are pretty significant, so it's going to be a tough pill to swallow. But I think we need to do it. We've got a good story to tell, but we need to tell it. And the date, the telling of the story really is in the data.
Yeah,
Kudos to the staff for doing this. And I would like to make a motion that we adopt, proposal number 3.
I second that. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
That is unanimous. All right, we will proceed to messaging and public comment. Sounds like,
Set a 30 days.
yeah, I know timing is of the essence here.
Correct, so
So April, our next meeting is on April 10th. The 30 days would bring us to Monday, the 27th
yes,
for meeting public comment.
Okay,
And comment can occur anytime up through that mail.
and then once the 30 days is passed, then April 27th, we'd be able to formally approve this over to the county commission.
Correct, and we give it to them and ask them to get it on there. Which you can let them know beforehand that you expect it to be on their agenda.
All right, and then the goal, and then Jack, I see you're still on, is Jack still on the line?
should be.
Yeah, so I think the goal is to get this in our May billings,
Correct.
and we're holding off on billing. Typically start billing in April, right?
Right.
We're holding off a month of billing to try to get this resolved.
Correct.
And then I know that doesn't give the commission a lot of time, but I think any support for a quick turnaround on that, I think we want to wait on the billing to
The,
get this through.
looks like the possible first Thursday of the month of May would be the 7th.
Is that when the county commissions meet on Thursday? the
First
7th?
and third Thursday, am I correct? First and third Thursday, Jack? You muted, Jack. Hold
Oh,
on.
you're talking, but we can't hear you. Oh,
I didn't unmute.
Well, the first meeting after the 27th.
yeah.
so we'll need help with getting it agendized on the
Yes.
county commission's agenda. Also, I want to make sure that we do have like an accompanying memo with
Yes.
this proposal, even when we put it out for public comment. And like I said, Brandon Rhodes, happy to work with you on that. And if you want to
Yes,
give me
ma'am.
a call after this,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a recommendation that we can do that in a pretty timely manner.
Excellent.
Thank you, Karen. Hey, Jack, I see you trying to come off mute. I recognize the technical difficulties. Would love to kind of get your thoughts, but I know that might be tough right now. I'm assuming you can hear us.
There's some update in this program, because that's the exact same problem that I had when I was doing that. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, it's,
Hey, Jack, I'm gonna call you on your cell phone and then put you on speaker. Is that all right? Can you give me a thumbs up if that works? I don't know.
We can't hear you.
I'll just try to call and see. Okay.
he moved first on.
Yeah. Hey, Jack, this is Brandon here at the Board of Health. I recognize you're having some technical difficulties. Definitely wanted to give you the opportunity to weigh in.
We've asked him to.
Okay, I'm having, we're looking now.
Asked him.
Well, we just wanted to kind of just acknowledge, the time constraints on the 30-day comment period for the fee schedule update. And then needing to get it to the commission for approval before we do our billing. And it's a really, really tight window and just wanted to kind of recognize that and kind of get your thought.
Me neighbors. Well,
Excellent. That's what we needed to hear. That's wonderful, Jack. All right, thank you so much. I'm gonna go ahead and, it sounds like you can hear us on the Zoom. We're still trying to get you unmuted. We don't know what's going on there, but we're about to close the meeting at this point anyway, but just wanted to give you an opportunity to, to chime in. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, appreciate the support and partnership. Have a great day. Feel better.
so do we have to have another meeting to approve the rate increases, although we've done it today?
So we leave it open to public comment. If there's no issues, then we adopt it for movement to the. county
So we
commission to
do have to have another special meeting the end of April so that it can go on to the county commission before we have a May meeting.
After the 30 days, according to the
Right.
2 years ago formula that we came up with.
Yeah, I do remember us doing that last time.
That's kind of what I thought too.
And we'll make that a very quick, that should be just a formal,
Any
maybe a
complaints?
5 minute.
That could even be a Zoom meeting.
That definitely is.
Well, maybe just Zoom only.
Yes, I think that's what we did last time was Zoom
Yeah.
only.
Okay. All right, this is the end of the agenda. Any
That's it.
other thoughts on health officer or environmental fee schedule before we break?
So would you like me to send out make these changes, send it out so everybody can just review it one last time before we put it out? Or do you want just put it out?
I would send it out as an FYI and get it posted.
So
If anybody has any
Right.
changes after the review, we can always add it to posting, but we don't want to slow down the posting.
Right.
But we're only gonna send out the number 3. You're not gonna send it all out.
Oh, I think he was talking about the job description for the
Oh, you're
health.
talking about the
job description. I'm so sorry. I was like, what, we had 3?
Oh,
And I think that's a great point though, on the fee schedule of, I mean, I know this is publicly reported.
Yes.
Meeting, but in the messaging, if we do, send out an analysis with the proposal 3, like a modified version. I'm inclined to look at that hourly cost because there isn't any portion of you, there isn't any portion of, and I think in reality, we're probably still much more closer to break even or maybe even a little under than this
Yeah.
$50,000, and
but we've already voted, so this is the way
This
it has
is
to
the way
go.
we're gonna go.
All right.
This is the way it has to
Oh,
go.
no, I'm not advocating for changing proposal 3. I'm talking about the cost structure for actuals 2025 and the variance, that's all.
But, yeah.
So
That's all.
Brandon
But-
said he didn't have any expense involved in
I
that,
was
but
gonna
you
get
have a good
cost.
amount of your time is spent providing administrative
Oh,
support,
absolutely.
both to human resources and all the other
Yeah.
finance,
Right.
as does Wendy.
Yes.
And
Yeah, so I
that-
didn't
Is
put any
administrative
extras in.
charge to that department cost center, but also there are amongst the volume you do a number of things that don't turn out to be routine and special questions come up where it's not quite clear and there needs to be a lot of discussion and you're involved with that.
And that would go the same concept with Dr. Reeves out too, right? As the health.
It
officer.
would, but I think.
And we can go down that doctor, but all I say was I put no extra skin in the game other than on the environmental health side.
Yeah, so this would be direct costs, and maybe this is in the messaging, what we looked at as a direct cost analysis, not a total cost. And
Correct.
there's the lights, the computers,
Absolutely.
all of that stuff isn't even baked, and this is just the cost of personnel, period.
Yeah.
So it's not even a true total cost.
Correct.
Well, my basic understanding of how finances worked here was the environmental side was pretty much self-funding.
Mhm.
We had hoped that the clinical side would be self-funding. And then basically the administrative side was what we got with state tax dollars.
Yeah.
That were being refunded.
Yeah.
Or not refunded is probably not the right word, but sent back to us by the state of West Virginia. That was If you were trying to divide it up into thirds, that was kind of the way that would work.
I like the look and feel of that, and I really, from a chunking.
Yeah, and that, in theory, that would be how it would function. Unfortunate aspect is cost increases, merit increases. We are also a location increase, right? Comparatively to, because before I came here, but they had a special hire rate for sanitarians, right? So that cost was higher than the rest of the state,
Mhm.
et cetera. Those sorts of avenues that are uniquely located for Jefferson County. And I think while the theory worked, and it probably did work for a while there, we just never, once you don't keep up with, fall behind. And we're just righting the ship at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, in the interest of time,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second,
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Appreciate everyone leaning in this Friday. Have a great morning.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Get to tell Alexis
Thank you.
thanks for coming to Rotary. Yeah, I'm good.